Normally, I don't bother with like fixing myself up when I do a video because I worry I don't want to be like the whole influencer thing. Not that I am, but I know I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot like Happy's wet food. So but uh I looked so terrible when I looked in the mirror. I'm like, okay, I got at least got to brush my hair. So I did that. But today was very busy. I don't know what happened in my kitchen today, but I'm not sure. I probably don't want to know. I'm off tomorrow. I can fix it, but it looks like something got on top of the fridge. Maybe I don't want to know. So anyways, but I went to work and it was just very very spicy today. The whole weekend was just nuts, and the customers were just bringing in this toxic energy. I mean, I'm sorry, I lived in California for 15 years. That's the only way I can describe it. And it just extreme hostility. I was getting cussed out in multiple languages over nothing, and just horrible. And everybody was talking about it. All the in the break room, they're like, "What is going on today?" Now, I asked my last bus driver today, because I had 5 buses. I said, "Do you know why it was so crazy today?" And he said, "Well, we had the protest." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that might have been it." But yeah. So anyways, I went to work. Work was pretty, crazy, but I got it done. I did what I could at least, and I'm the type of person, if you have like something you need me to take care of, I'm happy to do that. So, I was able to do that a little bit. But the yeah, oh, okay. Welcome to Texas. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, I need to get some more baits. So I work was pretty bad. Well, it wasn't bad. It was just nuts. And I get out to the bus stop, and there's a guy passed out on the bench, and it's yeah. I need some kind of name for him. I don't know what, but it's interesting because God is kind of letting me know He's got plans for this guy. But he was, just laying there for a long time, and then right before the bus came, he started like retching and vomiting and coughing and just, I think he had a combination of being drunk and really bad allergies. And he was just begging God to kill him. And it reminded me so much of Ron, because that's the kind of thing Ron used to do when his back was bothering him. And I thought, well, hopefully I'm like Ron. This guy will, surrender to Jesus. And Ron was saved, but he didn't surrender his life to Jesus, is the best way I can put it. And he didn't allow God to use what had happened fully, like it's not always easy to do that, but he will work it for good if he can. I mean, I've handed out thousands of Bibles because of what happened in my life. So I went to work, and I had my little buggy with me, and I'm just putting this in the fridge so I have some cold iced tea later. So I know, I'm sorry. I took my buggy, and I have the um sign, and I was the nice thing about the sign, I can roll it up and stick it pretty much anywhere. So, why, hello there. And right before I left, she just reminded me there was a pet stroller going by, and I stopped to look because I like animals. And it was a sweet little calico in the stroller with her 2 doting parents, and that was fun. I really enjoyed that. That's one of the nice things about working retail. You get to see things like that. So, I got out there. I had to deal with the guy, and he never quite figured out I was there. So that's good. But when the bus comes and they open the door, there's this loud announcement, you know, we'll say 11. Okay, the 11. 11! You know, and just, you know, and all that, which is good, I guess, for blind people, although Ron passionately hated the talking buses. He hated them so much. And, you know, so I got on and I got off where I had planned to go. And she's like, "Yeah, this isn't your usual stop." And I said, "Well, I have some plans tonight." And I told her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." And, she went on her way, and it was there's an old evangelist said this, and I'm going to put the link to the video in my comments if I can. But there's a link to a video I'm going to put. And basically, this old evangelist said, "I don't want a cathedral. Set me up 1 yard from the gate of hell." And I thought, that's pretty much what I like to do, my preference for missions. And so I was pretty much right at the gate of hell tonight. But it was interesting because the drug dealers slash gang, there were several of them at least, about, I'd say, as much as you would see maybe in Acres Homes, on a good day. They were, you know, just running around, but they were louder than the guys at Acres Homes, which I thought was interesting. And there's what they call the affect, just loud speech and mannerisms. And some cultures are just like that. They're just more boisterous, and other cultures are more quiet and subdued. And so that it was a little, you know, jarring at first, you know, all these shouts and stuff coming from over there. And I kept thinking, am I about to feel a bullet? But no, it was fine. I didn't have any trouble. And it was actually kind of soothing just being out late at night. There wasn't a lot of traffic, and, you know, it was actually kind of relaxing. And I thought I had set an alarm to give me a little window to the last bus of the night, which I did catch. Obviously, I'm home. But you know, there's just not interest at all. But there was this one young man who kept walking by, Latino, and he was about 15 or so, and he just kept kind of passing by, and he'd walk real close to me, like 18 inches away, and there was plenty of room. And then a couple minutes later, he came going the other way, and just every time I said good evening, and, you know, and he didn't say a word to me. But after I finished, he found me, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Cat. So there's this car pulled up. It's just a little crappy white compact car, and he was very, very skeptical. But I could tell he was Latino. Now, in this neighborhood, most of the cars had very, very tinted windows, so I couldn't see in, so I couldn't really read what was going on in the car. The last time I went to Acres Homes, for instance, there was a black couple. They were about 35, and they were arguing and pointing at me. I think one of them wanted a Bible and the other one didn't. So, you know, I just kind of was around if somebody changed their mind, but I didn't really look or wave at them like I normally would. So, but I thought, you know, there's a couple of verses in the Bible about sometimes you just have to go and just make a stand for Jesus. Just literally stand there holding the sign that says God loves you. So I did that for over half an hour. And so the Spanish guy, he pulls up and he's looking, and I show him, and I get out one of my Spanish Bibles. I get the one that's like the guy Bible, you know, it's more manly cover. And I show it to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He rolls down the window, the back window, which I thought was interesting. And I handed it in to him along with the girly one with the flowers on it. I figured, yeah, he's probably married, you know, the wife will like that. And he takes it and he says, "Can I have one more?" And I said, "Sure." So I gave him a third Bible, and he was happy, and he left. And the driver who had dropped me completed her route and then came back and passed me again. And she said, how's it going? And I said, well, I've already done 3. And she said, well, make it 4. And I said, okay. So I gave her a NLT New Testament. And I, was out there. I'm just waving and blowing kisses, smiling, just, I don't know, not much. But I just had a great sense of peace, out there, which is interesting because this is a very bad area and probably one of the worst in Houston. And I was just very peaceful and calm. So I said, okay, and my alarm went off, and I had a Testament of Steel. Here I am is my alarm. So, here I am, Lord. So I said, okay, that's it. So I just packed it all up, and there was this car that pulled up as it was rolling up the sign. So I unrolled it again and just waved at him. No. I could tell they were not into it. So I'm like, okay, I put the sign back. And I didn't know the young man was apparently watching me the whole time. And after I finished, I thought about going to the gas station that they frequent. It's interesting. The drug dealers seem to like to hang out at gas stations, at least at my venues. And I thought, yeah, I could really use a cold drink. And I thought, one, I don't really want to brave that gauntlet. 2, I know that store owner does not want my buggy in his store. 3, I cannot leave my buggy outside the store. It will not be there when I come back. And 4, probably pretty good odds my account will get hacked because I didn't have cash on me. So I thought, I'm going to pass. So I went to a bus stop, and it was frequent. It has a couple of different routes that go by. So I figured, whichever one will get me to the 85, I'll take that. So I went and I sat down, and the young man just appeared almost immediately, and he sat down. Do you mind if I sit? And I said, no. And I said, he said, what are you doing tonight? And I told him, my son, I'm handing out Bibles. He said, really? And I said, yeah, here, let me help you shop. He said, shop? And I said, yeah. So I took the bag out and put it practically in his lap. And it's a big tote bag. And it had about 45 Bibles in it. And I wish I had put a couple of the Bible promise books in there too, but I just didn't think about it. I just got these, and I'm almost out already. So and he said, oh, okay. And he was looking around, and he said, do you have any NASB? And I said, what? He said, NASB. And I thought, what does a young guy walking around in Cracktown in the middle of the night know about a NASB Bible? So now, of course, I'm going to have to get at least one. And, I have something pending with GoFundMe. So the minute that hits, I'm going to get it. But, so I said, well, no, I don't have that, but, take a look at the different versions and take whatever sounds interesting. And he was opening them and reading them and looking at, the tracks and stuff I put in there. Because I try to put at least one tract in each Bible. And then if it's like a bigger New Testament, I can put the where to look in the New Testament bookmark. So he was looking at that too, and, just kind of glancing at it. And he said, I want this one. I said, okay, good. It's yours. I said, do you want any more? Do you have any, friends or family that might want one? He said, no, I'm good. And, who knows, maybe he's in foster care or something. I don't know. But he said that was all he wanted. And the bus came, and I took my stuff, and I left, but not before I gave him a bag of candy also. And I did a lot of candy today. I left with like at least 10 bags of English, and it's all gone. And the Spanish, it was 2, and it was interesting because it was the same lady twice. But what I find so funny about God is the way he set it up when I did the candy. It was different things each time for her candy. So that was, I thought that was cool. So I went and made my connection, and the driver's like, what are you doing so late? And, on my regular 85. And he's like, oh, why? And I told him, he's like, okay. And he started talking to me about the baton again. People keep telling me I need a baton. And he's like, it's only $115. And I'm like, one, I make $14 an hour. And two, do you know how many Bibles I could get with that? So, no, not right now. So, and besides, like I said, I felt totally fine, And I, did like, there was like a little mini revival thing on the bus that everybody was getting candy. A couple of Bible promise books got handed out. Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes it's just like that on the bus. The work bus, the Tracy train, that's happened once. It's happened several times that I can recall on the 85. It's very, very interesting how that works. But that was my day, so I am going to log off and go eat a bowl of Honey Smacks. All right.